and welcome to our Anytime Storytime video. Today we're going to be talking about space. And to be more specific, we're going to be talking about the moon and its 8 phases. Before we do that, I think we should learn some fun facts about the moon. So first of all, contrary to popular belief, it is not made out of cheese. Neil Armstrong was the first man to walk on the moon in 1969. And the moon is a natural satellite, meaning that it orbits around the Earth. And the moon, just like Earth, has quakes. And our last fact is that there is no sound on the moon, and that's because there's no atmosphere on the moon, so there's nothing around it to protect it. Alright, so now I'd like to ask you a question. What shape is the moon? Well, I hope that you were all thinking that the moon is shaped like a circle. But the moon doesn't always look like a circle. Sometimes it may have a crescent shape like this. And no, that doesn't mean that the moon changes its shape. It just means that it's on a different phase on that particular night. Like we mentioned before, the moon orbits around the Earth, meaning that it moves all the way around it. And it does this in 27 days. And during that time, the moon has 8 different phases. The moon is always reflecting light from the sun, and depending on its location is the phase that it is at. So now let's go over the names of all 8 phases. We'll start with new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, third quarter, and waning crescent. Now that we've gone over all 8 phases, I think we should do a cookie moon activity so that we can remember a little bit more about them. What you'll need are 8 OREO cookies and then a plastic knife or just something to wipe the cream off. In this activity, we're going to use the cream to reflect the different phases of the moon. The cookie is round and will always stay round just like the moon, but the cream is going to change its shape. So we're going to start with our first lunar phase, which is the new moon. So let's take our knife and let's take our cookie and carefully open it up. If it doesn't come out clean, don't worry about it. That's why we have our little knife to scrape the rest of the cream off. During this phase, the moon is right in between the Earth and the sun. Therefore, there is no light being reflected, which means that we can't actually see it from Earth. Alright, so now that the cookie's all clean, we have our new moon. And now we can move on to phase number 2. Now we're gonna work on making the waxing crescent. And this is the moon's first step to becoming a full moon. During this phase, the moon starts off looking like a little sliver, and it continues growing and growing until it reaches its next phase. In order for the moon to be considered a crescent, it has to be less than 0.5% visible. So we're gonna finish up our little crescent shape, and we'll move on to our next phase. Now we're moving on to our third phase, which is the first quarter. Although this is considered the first quarter, at nighttime we can actually see at least half of the moon. The real reason it's considered the first quarter is because at this point in time, the moon has traveled a quarter way around the Earth. And now we're going to work on the waxing gibbous. During this phase, the moon is as visible as it can be before it being a full moon. The waxing crescent and the waxing gibbous are similar in that every day they are becoming more and more visible. So in this sense, we're going to remove a little less cream than we did for the other ones. And there you have it, our waxing gibbous. And now we're moving on to our full moon phase. And this happens when the sun and the moon are on different sides of the earth, meaning that the moon is fully visible from earth. Moving on to the waning gibbous, we're going to start noticing that the moon's visibility is going to start decreasing. And the word waning basically just means shrinking. So here we're just going to remove a little crescent shape off the moon, clean it up a bit, and we're done with our waning gibbous. Now during the third quarter, we see that even less of the moon is visible. So just like it was in the first quarter, we're going to take half of the cream off, except this time we're going to see the opposite side of the moon. Alright, so now we're going to work on the waning crescent, and this is the last phase before the moon cycle starts all over again. Like we mentioned before, waning just means shrinking. Therefore, the visibility of the moon will continue to shrink until it's almost no longer visible and we go all the way back to a new moon. So we're just going to clean off the rest of the cream here and we are done with our waning crescent. And there you have it, our Oreo cookie moon faces. I hope you enjoyed this activity and give it a try sometime. If you would like to learn more about space, I recommend you check out our space theme Anytime Storytime bag. You can check them out at any one of our 3 libraries. The bags will include all these books and some awesome activities for you to do. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the video.